Welcome everyone to Gnostic Network. I am your host, Tara Crete, and this is Insights of a Modern Mystic with Isabella Greene. This is episode 2, Experiencing God. I've been looking forward to this. Welcome back, Isabella. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great.
Oh, thank you for having me. So last time we discussed what it takes becoming a mystic and what it means to be a modern mystic today. Today we're going to be talking about your experience of God in the Sinai Desert in Egypt, which I can't wait to hear about. So you journeyed to Egypt and you had a life-changing experience there in the desert. So firstly, what was it that called you to go to the Sinai Desert?
Like I mentioned in the previous episode, I was constantly seeking something that I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what it was, but I knew that the life that I was living was not enough. I was a very unhappy person in my corporate career, making a lot of money and in my marriage, and I was just not excited and things were missing. And so I was drawn to the sacred places. I was naturally looking for access to this connection to the divine, the feeling that it gives you to be in the ancient temple, for example. And so at some point, I found myself in the Holy Land of Israel, and I was in the temple, outside of the temple of the Dome of the Rock, that central temple that they have in Jerusalem. And it's an intense experience there to begin with, but I came out and I was in this altered state, kind of from just being in the presence of that intensity. And the tour guide that took us there, he observed my state and he asked me, he said, "What brings you here? Why are you doing this tour? What is it that you're seeking?" And I said, "I think that I'm seeking God, truly. I feel so disconnected. I'm seeking God." And he said, "Well, here we say, if you want to find God, you have to go to the desert. In the desert, there is nothing except you and God." And so he said, if you decide at any point that you would like to have that experience, reach out to me and I will organize that for you. And that's when you are going to have an unforgettable journey with God. And so I took his information, and 5 years went by. And at the end, so I was in between corporate jobs there, and I was not looking forward to taking the next job, but it seemed like there was no other way. And during that break, I remembered that conversation, and I said, "Wow, let me go." And I reached out to this person, and they picked me up, him and a friend from the Israeli side. They picked me up at the airport. We drove across the border into Egypt, and there we were met by the Bedouins, quite literally the group of the Bedouins in a jeep with broken windows, and the guys from the Egyptian side, they were wearing the white dresses and sandals. And to me, that was really strange looking situation there. The jeep was so beat up, I wasn't sure it was going to make it anywhere. And so we embarked on this journey of driving with these people. The guys were all sleeping in the back of the jeep, and I was sitting next to the driver. And he was an unforgettable kind of man, like really dry skin, and really the person that you would consider to be a mystic, something like that, with the beard and in a dress. And we drove for 2 hours on the road, and then he just turned right into the sand. And I was blown away because there was no road. We're just driving right across the sand, and he kept looking at the moon to tell the direction, I guess. And it happened to be the full moon time. And we came to a spot that was there were rock formations there. My idea was to go where Moses went. I wanted to go to Mount Sinai, and they told me that we're going to be as close to that as possible. So within the same energetic vortex, within the same energetic space. And it was all just sand and the red rock formations, very similar to where I live now with within Sedona area.
So was this gentleman like transporting you, just dropping you off in the middle of the desert?